That is not open yet. Yes. There's only one.
Namaskar. Om Om. You can hear me? Everybody can hear? Yes? Audio
Namaste,
okay?
Swamini. Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Yes, I'll be back soon.
Okay.
Just checking things. That's all. Yeah. Nice to see both of you. Nice to see everybody else also. Very, very nice. Awesome. If it is okay with you, what we can do is we can first have the opening prayer, just a simple Sahana Bhavatu mantra. Then after that I will invite Paripatyadars, our organizers of this talk, Srimati Meera and Sri Raj, to say a few words to by way of introduction and by way of the topic today, etc. And then after that, whatever comes, I will talk. And then I hope to have some time for just a informal, what is that called, Q&A interactions after the talk. Okay, so this is the plan. Did you think of anything else you wanted to add to this plan?
Sounds very reasonable. Thank you.
Okay.
How are you feeling today?
You know, it is a process. It is, I have understood that it needs a lot of patience and it cannot be hurried, and it's not a linear thing. So it'll be like that, and doing the best one can. That's all it is. Yeah, we live in complicated times. What can I say? Shall we begin with the prayer? Yeah.
Yes.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Without much ado, I will give it over to the both of you. You can say
Yeah.
right. Yes.
Yeah. Namaste, Swaminiji,
Namaskar.
and all who have joined us today. It looks like a fairly good crowd. A lot of them are not AVC people that I recognize, at least, but that's good. You know, it's good to have students from everywhere coming here. We thank Sri Svatmavidyananda Swaminiji for her dedication and love of teaching while still recovering from COVID symptoms. That itself is a teaching moment and a blessing to all of us. As you may know, Swaminiji teaches Vedanta all over the world. She's currently also doing 6-month course at Rishikesh Ashram for IVG. Recently, she has been awarded the Grateful to Guru Award by the Indica Academy and AVG for her outstanding dedication to the teachings of Vedanta. And we here in the Bay Area are also very grateful to have Swaminiji here with us today. Vijay Kapoorji had some message, so I'll read a few words about what he said. Even though Swamini Svatmavidyananda ji could not be physically present this time for an in-person talk, I welcome her increasing connection to the Vedantic students in the Bay Area to continue the sacred teaching introduced by Mahatmas half a century ago. Pujya Swami Dayananda used to say that the transfer of this subtle vision can only take place through the rapport between a guru and shishya. So I hope that Swaminiji and you, all students, can foster this personal connection by her visits and future visits. With prayers and wishes, Hari Om. That is the message from Vijay Kapoorji. So the topic today, so basically this talk will address the connections between self-knowledge and everyday life for all students and even for jnanis. This is of immense value to us to understand and to abide by it. So definitely a very interesting topic to explore. So just for the students, do write down any questions you may have for Swaminiji in the chat window. And I request you, meanwhile, to mute your Zoom connections, as I think most of you have already, and until the Q&A session, right? That should work, right? So,
You can have your cameras on. You can just off your, what's its name? Audio. So
audio.
that, yeah, camera you can have on. It's not.
Yes, indeed. Okay, I think
That
that's
way
all I
I
had.
can look at your wonderful faces as though we are in a hall. Okay, strange kind of hall, but at least some interaction will be there. Okay. So you are welcome to keep the camera on. Please.
Please come there. Turn on the cameras, please.
Yeah, turn off
At least for a while.
Yeah, turn off the audio.
Audio.
Unless you're asking a question. After class, I'll invite you to turn on the audio and ask questions. Now, Meera would like to say anything?
Yes, just that we are so happy that you're here in the Bay Area with us. It was planned a while ago, and so we were really excited and very, planning everything and getting everything ready. And I'm so glad that at least we have this Zoom call with you, because even though in person would have been fantastic, at least we get to see you and get the benefit of your knowledge, and we're very grateful to you. So welcome you, Swaminiji, and very blessed. We feel very blessed.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction and the kind words from both of you, and also very precious words from Vijayji. And I was supposed to meet him, but that is not happening. So we will arrange a call sometime and talk to each other. That would be nice. If there is not anything else, I will begin.
Yeah.
Before beginning, some caveats. Okay. So many things can happen during the course of this talk. Once I may need to blow the nose, I'm ready. Okay. And then what else? I may need to cough. And so I will try to remember to hold this and cough so that I'm not coughing in your ear. All right. That is a small courtesy. If I remember to extend, I can extend. And then what else? Suddenly I may disappear. Maybe needing to go to the bathroom or something, but that's unlikely to happen. So we can take that in a laughing way. And then what else can happen? We fall asleep while talking. That also, I think that will not happen. Okay, so these are some things that we should be mindful of. And fortunately, there is, as we say in Vedanta, there is nowhere to go. Number one, nothing to achieve. Number two, nothing to get rid of. Number three, except self-ignorance. Okay, nothing to get rid of, nothing to collect, nothing to lose, nothing to gain. And so, with these words, let's see what happens with this talk. Om Namah Shivaya. Welcome, hearty welcome to everybody who has joined. And it is a wonderful connection to have, even though it is through Zoom for now. But that will change sometime soon, I hope. And then the topic for today kind of evolved from one or two iterations previously. Somebody suggested life after moksha. Okay, and I thought that was an intriguing topic, life after moksha. But then I wanted to hone it in a little bit because it was a little vague, I thought. So it was intriguing, but more like the title of a mystery novel. And so I wanted it to be a little more clear. So then I think we changed it to self-knowledge in everyday life or day-to-day life. And if you want to become really fancy, you can call it moksha in day-to-day life. That will also be nice. How does and what does moksha look like in day-to-day life? Now, everything else in Vedanta is just a big paradox or a series of paradoxes And it is through these paradoxes alone one learns. And so one learns through these paradoxes. And what is the paradox here? Look at the paradox is staring at us in the face, in the topic itself. Self-knowledge in day-to-day life. Now, this is something which is a deterrent. The topic is almost a deterrent for everybody. And I'm surprised that so many people have joined, despite it being a deterrent. How is it a deterrent? Well, if I have moksha, then I don't want to attend this talk, because I'm going to say, Arey, I already have moksha. Why do I want to know what somebody else has to say about moksha in day-to-day life? I just have to film a day. I take a selfie and film a day in my own life, and I just have to look at my own life. Then, lo and behold, moksha in day-to-day life is already covered. Right? Now, on the other side, suppose I don't have moksha, then also why will I be interested in moksha in day-to-day life, self-knowledge in day-to-day life? Here is a person. Here, for now, we can say it is hypothetically me. Here is me. I don't have moksha, so I will not be interested in that. It's like a bald man being offered shampoo advertisements, okay, and lots of samples. Okay, this one has a moisturizing quality, and that one helps to save the hair, and then this one brings a nice radiance and gleam to the hair. This one takes care of dandruff. So many things are there. And all these samples, the person, let's say, is going in a supermarket, and then sometimes they have all these, what are they called, free samples, and the people are hawking them near the entrance or inside. They have some places and they are hawking them. And so what will the person who has no hair do? The person who has no hair will not be interested in any of these hair care products. So similarly, the person who doesn't have moksha is what? Not really interested in anything to do with moksha, because they feel like this topic is not for me. It is not going to help me. It is not addressing me. So then, of course, before we go any further, the very intriguing question is, who is this talk for? And why are we talking about this? A, and B, why are we listening to this? Very, very interesting. And so the answer to that, of course, is in two places. One is, it's in our own hearts, and in that cry, in that call to be one with everything, to be non-separate, to be whole, to be free of all kinds of difficulties, strife, fears, and all that. So there is a call in the heart that is undeniable. Whether one has heard of the word moksha or its English counterpart, self-knowledge, or one has not, the cry, the desire is universal. It is not an Indian cry. It is not a Hindu cry. It is not a cry that is just based on certain religious beliefs. No, it is a universal thing. I want to be whole. I want to be free. Free of what? Free of longing. Longing for what? Longing for a sense of belonging. Which means what? I feel excluded from everything. There is a threefold alienation: Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. And as Pujya Swamiji used to say, the self, the world, and God. And that word God itself is odd for anybody who is studying this. But more about that later. So there is a threefold alienation. There is a threefold sense of exclusion wherever I look, because when I look at myself, there is a strange disconnection. There is, some of it is palpable. There is a dissonance between the knower, Paramata, and the doer, Karta. So the knower knows this is not the right thing to do. The doer does it anyway, leading Arjuna to ask this question in the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 36th verse. Atha kena prayuktena papam charati purushah anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitah. Why, oh Lord Krishna, do people do the wrong things all the time, even though they know that this is not to be done, and still they do it? And of course, the answer is raga, dvesha, strong preferences and prejudices. So that this is one example of an internal split: dharma, adharma, raga, dvesha, knower, doer. Internal split. And then, so that is within the jiva. Then with other jivas also, there is a sense of alienation. Who are you? What do you want? And some people we meet, we just try to avoid them. To us, they look weird. They may look dangerous. They may look suspicious. We avoid them altogether. And even those we do not avoid, we approach them with a good sense of caution. I don't know what it is they want. I don't know what it is that they may want from me. And so this is the jiva bheda. Bheda means difference. And the word difference, if we use in English, doesn't make any difference to our understanding. So therefore, we should change the word bheda, the translation of the word bheda, we should change it to what? Alienation. So because difference can be there, difference doesn't cause pain. Okay, so here this causes pain, and so therefore we are talking of alienation. So jiva yoho bheda, and then of course all the philosophies and religions of the world pontificate on this concept of God, and this is something which is seldom understood, but yet very actively. So whatever the version of it is, whatever people think God is, they push it down the people's throat with a stick. As a result, even the word becomes kind of allergic. Therefore, in Vedanta, we say that this, what we call Ishvara, cannot be outside of you. Nay, you are non-separate from the cause of the universe. And this is something to be understood. To take care of the first two alienations, we have to look at this. We have to understand this completely. And so the topic of moksha in day-to-day life will appeal to people who are suffering from this threefold alienations, threefold sense of separation, exclusions, etc. And why does this alienation is there? In a way, even though the pat answer that comes is what self-knowledge, self-ignorance, that is why. But really speaking, if we have been studying Vedanta for so long, can we just take that as an excuse? Are we just going to say, oh, because of self-ignorance, I'm having these feelings. Because of self-ignorance, I'm suffering in this way. Because of self-ignorance, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because I am doing myself a disservice to say that I have self-ignorance, even though I have been studying for so long. But if that is truly the case, that means something is not working. Either there is a resistance, or there is a series of blocks, or there is some problem in the receiving of this knowledge, which needs to be corrected. That I do not think is the problem. Generally, what is the problem? The problem is owning up what has been studied. There seems to be a gap. There seems to be an increasing gap between what I know, that is what I talked about earlier, the knower, doer split. That is the split that seems to continue and persist after the gain of this knowledge, or in the process of gaining this knowledge. Because really, one has been studying for many years, and still there is this feeling, means that that one cannot claim the excuse, I am self-ignorant, and yet perhaps one cannot safely claim the epithet, I am a Jivan Mukta, or I have self-knowledge. So then where is one in betwixt and between? And so what is that status? That status is called I am in the process of knowing. I have started this process, and I am in the process of internalizing this knowledge. I am in the process of knowing. I am in the process of being. And so this is exactly for whom this topic has been conceived of. It is not for people who already know, for the reasons we have discussed, and it is not for people who do not know and who do not care to know, also for the reasons we have already discussed. It is exactly for the people bang in the middle of these two extreme continuums. In between these two continuums, most of the people belong in the middle. And this is where this talk may come in handy. And so the process of knowing means that Shravanam has or is taking place, or Shravanam has taken place. Shravanam means listening to the teachings, because there is no other way to gain these teachings than to listen to them. This is how Shravanam takes place. So Shravanam has taken place means this is exactly how one starts to just focus and listen, and one has, let's say, no problem accepting this is the teacher, accepting this is the sampradaya, the lineage I have chosen to study with, and accepting that this is how the knowledge takes place. And how does the knowledge take place? It's more of a dismissal of the ignorance rather than drilling the head and putting something inside of it called knowledge. There is nothing to put inside. In all that is there is just the just oneself alone, and this self is as though when you take out something from an attic. You go to the attic, you have stored it and not looked at it for a long time. What does it look like? You take out an artifact that is very dear to you. It is full of webs. What kind of webs? Cobwebs. It is full of dust. It is full of dirt. And you don't even know what it looks like. And so a thorough dusting is needed. Sometimes you have to wet the cloth after dusting it dry. You have to wet the cloth and just do this. And sometimes you have to polish it nicely with a wet cloth. And then you can see it. Same thing with the I, the self. What has happened is that there is, it has gathered the dust of various impressions, wrong apprehensions, misapprehensions. Why? because the I, as we know, is partially known and partially unknown. Just like the example of the rope snake, where in twilight. In twilight, you see something on your lawn, and what is it that you think? What is it that you immediately think? You think, oh my God, eek, snake. You think it's a snake. But then what happens? It is not a snake. What is it? It is a rope. It's not a snake at all, it is a rope. Then why did I mistake it for the snake? Well, the key in this example is the twilight kala. The time of twilight has a very important role to play in this example, because in the twilight it is enough light to see it, but it's not enough light to know or understand what it really is. That is why it is. So a rope cannot be mistaken for the snake in pitch dark. Why? Because you neither see rope nor see snake. Finish. We are done with that then. Then in bright daylight, can you mistake rope for snake? Again, not, because you see the rope as rope. Only in twilight, the adhishthana, which in the example is the rope, is mistaken and for what? Snake. So the adhishthana suffers from adhyasa, mistake. Adhyasa means mistake. So therefore, this is a very funny kind of apprehension, a misapprehension of the original object for want of a means of knowledge. Now, the business of seeing the snake at twilight, projecting the snake on the rope, what do? You have a mobile phone. Yeah, we use it not just to talk, but to do many, many things. That's why it has so many functions. It can take your heartbeat, it can tell you how much you have walked, it can scold you that you are looking at it too much, you're spending screen time, and then it can tell you your height, it can tell you your weight, and maybe the next version can also make you coffee. You just press the button and then it will come, or something like that. But this is the mobile phone. What does it have? A flashlight. And then you cast the flashlight on this offending snake, and then what you see is the rope. Likewise, the I has a lot of things that are not known. The autobiography that I write about myself is fraught with sorrow and laced with fear, anxiety, pain, and all manner of incompleteness, insecurity, self-judgment, judgment of others, and a sense of total helplessness. This is my autobiography, because like seeing the snake in twilight, I am assessing myself without the light of the Shastra. And the light of the Shastra has to be cast in order to understand what this I is. It's not that the I is unknown, because on an unknown I cannot make a mistake. And if the I is totally unknown, then there cannot be any adhyasa. There is no mistake at all. Like even we have all manners of pets, dogs, cats, etc., etc., and then they don't know I am God, and they seem to be fine. And cows also. In Rishikesh, there are very beautiful cows. I think they should wear a board on their neck. Beware, super affectionate cow. This is what they just come and dash into you and want to be scratched where their horns are growing. They love it. And so this is what they do. And so they don't they don't have a complex centered on the self. So in a way, self ignorance has two parts. One is ajnanam, pure and simple, like the cow. It doesn't know itself. It doesn't say I am Bhagavan. It doesn't know that, and it doesn't care to know that. And this self knowledge is not meant for cows or cats or dogs. No matter how much you convince me that your pets are getting enlightened because they are taking my online classes, I will still say they are sitting there because you are sitting there. They are not sitting there. If you get up and go, they will also get up and go. They don't need this knowledge. They are muktaha. They are already free. This is just a bhoga sharira. This is just a body that has to be exhausted in this life. Some karma has to be exhausted in the form of what? Dog life, cat life, etc. Fish life, etc. And so so this is part A of Atma Ajnanam. Part B of Atma Ajnanam, and the self-ignorance has another part, which is part B. And what is part B? I know I am, and I have free will. Everything becomes evident to me. I am self-evident, and I feel like I have free will. I can do anything. And therefore, what am I going to do? I'm going to sit and judge myself. This is the first thing I do. I have all kinds of judgments. First, starting with the self. I am is self-evident. Aham asmi. I am. And to this I am, the sad tunes of this autobiography get attached. I am an idiot. I don't know. Nobody loves me. I don't belong anywhere. And I have tried. I went to this potluck, nobody liked my dish. Then I went over there and nobody liked me. And then I went to the third place. They said, next time just drop off the dish, don't worry about coming. And so, like this, every place I go, nobody loves me, nobody wants me. And I also don't like myself. I also don't love myself. And so the whole life, you see, becomes a frantic struggle for approval seeking. This becomes one's primary pursuit in life. So the autobiography, not of a yogi, okay? Autobiography of a sad bhogi. That is the thing. The autobiography of a really sad bhogi means that I am just, nobody loves me. I am insecure. And therefore what? All my actions are planned. Every step of my day is planned. Speak of day-to-day life. Every step of my day is planned. I wake up with what? A sense of self-disapproval. I go to sleep with what? A sense of insecurity spurred on by self-disapproval, which I project on to others. And I say, so-and-so doesn't like me. So-and-so hates me. So-and-so is dissing me. This is the young people's word, diss. They are dissing me. They are doing this to me. They are doing that to me. And there's also one more young people's word. What is that? Ghosted me. Somebody ghosted me. I said, what? Ghosted me. I said, what is ghosted? Oh, they didn't show up. And that means what? This is what a ghost does. Can you have an appointment with a ghost? It will not show up. And so similarly, this person ghosted me. And so this is the assumption. It is like the Tanpura in an Indian vocal concert. There is an instrument, a string instrument, which keeps the notes of the melody that the instrumental person, the main person, the instrumentalist or the vocalist is playing, and it just keeps, humming this melody. And what is this melody? I don't approve, I don't approve, I don't like myself, I am insecure, I want, I don't have, I lack, I lack. This leads to a lackluster life. Because if this is the assumption that is trailing me from the moment I wake up and greet the sun to the moment I lay down my head on the bed, then it calls for what? It calls for a very quick decision to make my life in such a way that I become an approval seeker, not yesterday, but just now. Not day before yesterday, not tomorrow. Just now, I have to start this. I'm already too late. So one becomes a approval hunter, a validation hunter. So look for prey first thing as soon as you get up. So if there is a significant other, how is the coffee? And the significant other is put in a very difficult situation. That person just wants to drink his or her own coffee and be on their way. And maybe they have a meeting, maybe they have to go somewhere, maybe they just don't feel like talking. So they'll say, yeah, it's fine. What do you mean it's fine? How good is it? Now, how can you say how good is it? And so it starts with that. Don't worry about the cough, okay? Yeah, I can see some faces. That's why I asked you to keep the camera on. Don't worry, because this is part of the deal, and it sounds worse than it is. It's not bothering me, and so it starts from the morning. I become an approval seeker, and an approval hunter is hunting for validation. So morning, hunt. Oh, here is the family. So what kind of a father am I? If you ask first thing in the morning, especially to teenagers, I don't have to tell you what kind of answer you are going to get. Okay, and so and then with experience one knows certain questions are best not approached in this way. But still, it takes a long time to learn. So at home, one is hunting. Approve of me. Look, I laid out your clothes for you. Okay, so you did that big deal. Thank you. No, but you don't do anything for me, and you don't do this. Okay, if I don't do anything for you, then that's a different conversation. Why does it connect to this thing? Meaning what you're trying to say is you don't approve of me even though I approve of you. This is what is called samsara. What is samsara? Some sorrow or the other, based on this. So I become, you see how complicated it has become. First I woke up feeling panicked, feeling anxious, wanting approval, seeking validation. Okay, as though that was not bad enough. Then I sought approval, and then somehow I got the idea that I should approve of others so that they can approve of me. Where did I get this idea? God only knows. But I got this idea, and then I started to give of myself and do things for people in the hope that this approval will come back. What happened? Nothing happened, because that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. And so therefore that's exactly how it does not work. Why? For many reasons. Because you cannot have a say over other people's behaviors. That's the main reason. You cannot absolutely have a say over other people's conduct, behaviors towards the world, behavior towards other jivas, namely you. You cannot have that. And so therefore, this this strategy collapses, this strategy just fails, it does not succeed. And this strategy in psychological parlance is called codependency. Codependency means I just enable you to be who you are in the hope that you will approve of me. And I just try to help you so that you will help me. Maybe it works for a little bit. Maybe some people are luckier than others and it works in some relationships for some people some of the time, but it certainly is not the way to go. Just because you have a 0.5% success rate, you don't take this as a page out of the book of getting out of self-disapproval, getting out of this thing called what is that called, judgment, getting out of this conundrum called self non-acceptance, self-invalidation. All these are more or less synonyms. Getting out of this thing. And this is impossible to get out of this. And so therefore, what does Vedanta say about this? We have to see is that this whole manner of conduct, first the assessment, the wrong assessment that I am, that I am incomplete, etc., etc., the wrong assessment that I'm not okay, leading to frantic seeking approval and validation of everybody all the time. Number 3, and therefore altering myself, crushing myself, putting myself down, stifling my creativity in order to be acceptable to somebody else. This is just the height of samsara, codependency. Nothing good comes out of it. We leave a trail of broken relationships, we leave a trail of broken hearts, and we leave a trail of tears, because each relationship, each different, new person, but the same issues. Why? I haven't interrogated what is it that I need to transform here. And the best blessing that the sunlight of Vedanta gives is to dry out this dampness called insecurity centered on the I. How does it dry out the dampness? By pointing out that, you know what, this whole thing is wrong. The premise that you are insecure is wrong. And if the whole premise is wrong, then all the activities, the frantic activities in order to become secure, how can that be correct? See, if I feel like I'm being robbed all the time, if somebody is, robbing me, then what will I do? I will keep bolting the doors. I will keep shopping for various kinds of locks and security systems, and then all these things, doorbell which shows the person, and then I may move to a community with gates, and I may do this, do that. But this is just based on the assumption that somebody is constantly robbing me. But what if that itself were true? Untrue. If that itself is untrue, then I have the space to see, oh my God, I have just been doing all kinds of things for no reason. I moved so many times. I did all these things. In India, there is a village where none of the houses or the shops have doors. And it is in Maharashtra, and it is there is a very big famous Shani temple there, we learned. And then in this Shani temple, they believe that Lord Saturn will take care of anybody trying to come in and take anything that does not belong to them. So not only is the door unlocked, forget unlocked, the door itself is not there. Even the bank does not have the door. Okay, so imagine. So if that were the reality, if I'm not being robbed, then I don't need doors, I don't need locks, I don't need security system and doorbell camera, and then security cameras everywhere. I don't need all that. This is the problem. The problem is I have all these overkill devices and ways of securing myself because I have come to the wrong conclusion. I am an insecure person. And the light of the Shastra dries this out. This is why Shravanam is very, very important and cannot be bypassed. So the Shravanam helps to see. Shravanam means listening to a teacher who makes sense. Who makes sense means what? Who understands the Shastra, who understands the Upanishads, does not distort the meaning, and is able to communicate to you in a way that you can understand and you can take benefit from it. So this is called Shravanam. Shravanam takes away the edge of this insecurity. One becomes more confident. There is a lightness in one's being. There is a pep in the step. One smiles more in life. Even the most serious person occasionally cracks a smile, which is very nice. Wonderful things like this. We enjoy the phala. Phala means the fruits of Shravanam, because it is just so beautiful. It just makes the life all the more just, spontaneous, day to day. In the day to day, there is just some spontaneity because I can finally afford to take down the burden of seeking validation. I can, and this in the Vedanta Shastra is done in 2 steps. Because every pursuit is validation seeking, not just the small interpersonal examples I gave. Suppose I want to be famous, it is validation seeking. Suppose I want to be rich, validation seeking. Insecurity fulfilling, trying to fulfill insecurity or seek validation. Suppose I want to be much more learned than I am, validation seeking, approval seeking, insecurity reducing. All activities are like that. And so now with Shravanam there is a certain lightness, and the burden of trying to carry this insecurity and keep taking care of this baby called insecurity, which is all the time burping and which is all the time crying and spitting up and not just consoled by anything. Imagine if you had a baby like that. Everybody would go mad. First, it's not growing up, permanently 6 months old, and then it is crying constantly. No matter how much you feed it, it's crying. Then you give it some medicine thinking it's got a tummy ache. Then too it is crying. Then you think it needs a nappy change and you do the needful and still it is crying. What to do with this baby? So first step, what Vedanta says is give it to Ishvara. Give it to Bhagavan. Because this is the collective unconscious. This is your unconscious. This is the collective, because it's an unconscious pattern. And this unconscious pattern of seeking approval, which is there, which has been inherited as a prasada of self-ignorance, you first give this to Ishvara. That's why at the foot of Lord Dakshinamurti there is some kind of a truncated baby-like figure. Not a baby, not at all a baby. And it is in fact having mustaches, one hand a dagger, another hand one shield, offensive and defensive. This is the being first given to Ishvara to hold, and after that it is just integrated into oneself. It truly becomes integrated into oneself. Nobody is kicking out this baby. It is integrated into the I that is discovered to be free of this burden of this baby. So in 2 steps, this is crying infant, crying for approval, is taken care of. This is what Shravanam accomplishes. Very beautiful. And this is exactly what the middle of the Bhagavad Gita, the verse in the 9th chapter, tells us, a famous verse, that those of the people who are spending their life in thinking of, in contemplating on and studying the truth of themselves as non-separate from me, for them I will carry this burden of their needs, of their wants, of their approval, disapproval, all these things. Give it to me. This is not for you to hold. Give it to me. And that same, verse later on says that everything is you. Everything is myself alone. I am not anything separate from you. Everything is me. You also are just me. This is what it is. This is how the oneness is established. So now that the baby is gone baby gone, and then what? So if the crying baby is gone, there is a little space and there is a little spontaneity. And this is called the Jnana Phala, the fruit of Atma Jnanam. Very beautiful. Now, even though I have the fruit and I enjoy the fruit of Atma Jnanam, what happens? These old behaviors, not so much the thinking behind it, but the old behaviors come back. Why? Because they were not gone to begin with. They had retreated and then they come back. But why do they come back? They should have gone. They are not fully gone because, as I started in the beginning of the talk, what is there? A gap between the knower and the one who acts, the doer. The doer-knower split is a very big split that is discussed in Vedanta. In the Brahma Sutras, it is discussed. In Naishkarmya Siddhi, a very important work by one of the direct disciples of Adi Shankara called Sureshwaracharya, it is discussed. It is also discussed in the texts such as the Jivan Mukti Viveka and other Vedanta texts, advanced texts. Why? Because this is the one thing that makes one short of claiming the moksha one so much deserves and so much craves. This is what comes in the way. And what is that called? Viparita bhavana. Bhavana, feeling, experience. And what is the experience? Viparita, opposite. It's like the Upanishad which I have studied is doing a headstand inside my head. It's giving me the messages. I have the understanding. I know this, but then what is happening? I know I am Brahman, ... And this leads people to understand what? Oh, how to experience it. What do you mean how to experience it? Whatever you are experiencing is Brahman alone. No. How to experience it? Array, I just told you. The experiencer is nothing but Brahman. The object of experience, nothing but Brahman. The mode of experience through seeing, hearing, etc. is nothing but Brahman alone. So what do you mean? That there is a Brahman experience. There is no Brahman experience. If Brahman were a special experience, then it would become finite. It would not be infinite at all. And so therefore what? So therefore, even though this is told many, many times, there seems to be a gap. One is betwixt and between. I have studied this, yes. Kathopanishad check, Kenopanishad check, this Upanishad check, that Upanishad check, every which Upanishad check. But then there is no takeaway. I don't feel like I can grasp it. Well, it's not an object, it's you. Yes, 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 yeah, exactly. It is me. I understand somehow. But I'm not able to just connect to that reality. In other words, I know I'm Brahman, but I don't behave like Brahman. This is what happens. In the class, while doing Shravanam, while listening, everything is okay. All the ghouls of anxiety, fear, pain, sorrow, all of them are just sitting quietly and listening to the Shastra, fingers on their lips, as we were told as children, in class. So then what happens? Then the closing prayer is uttered, the class comes to a close, and then what? Immediately, the knee-jerk reactions, the knee-jerk behaviors, starting with the kinds of conversations I have, starting with the kinds of actions I am prone to do, starting with the kinds of thoughts I am welcoming in my heart, in my head. All of them start to play their reels like a non-stop movie of samsara. And I find myself askance. I find myself flummoxed. I don't want this movie. In order to stop this movie, I studied Vedanta. I am studying Vedanta to turn off this movie. And still, as soon as I turn off the class, what happens? The movie comes back. And I can't, how to keep on listening to the class all the time. I can't do that. I have to do other things. I have to go here, I have to go there, I have to take care of my work, my life, my people, my family, my friends, etc. I have job to do. So I can't constantly be listening to Vedanta. In fact, the ears will get worn out and the mind will go astray. Even if, let's say, I have headphones all the time and I'm listening, then what will happen? Nothing will happen. It will not be effective at all. You know why? Because the interest will go away. The mind will naturally just fly away from its perch. It will not be effective at all. And so therefore, I have to come to some kind of a understanding of how to correct this thing, how to correct this way of being. What is it that is missing? And what we say is missing is an owning up of this knowledge that is missing. Missing in action, wall, absent without leave. I know I'm Brahman, and I know I am the whole, and I can even tell you how. I am Sat, I am Chit, I am Ananda. And then on the other side, when we take apart this thing called Ishvara, this conscious entity called Ishvara, what do you get? Sat plus Chit plus Ananda, so the two are same. Tattvam Asi, I get it. I can write a PhD paper on it. But I am still sad. I am still attacked by samsara. And so for this reason, we need to have some ways to bring moksha into our lives in the day-to-day. Why won't it come on its own? Well, knowledge comes on its own. The behavior takes time. Behavior always catches up. Even in Aparavidya. Aparavidya means everyday knowledge. Like, for example, non-ultimate knowledge. Like, for example, you have, let's say, rewired some electrical things in your house. So before, when you came, the light switch was on the left side. Now, where is it? On the right side. So when you come in the first few days, where does the hand go? Left side, naturally, because that's what one is accustomed to. Let's say, especially if you enter in the dark, without thinking. The hand goes on the left side. And then what happens? Then you laugh at yourself. Oh, foolish one. Don't you remember? The electrician came and did this and said this is better because there was some damp or it was a hazard there. And then you feel for it on the right side. This is exactly what has to be done in life. And this is how we grow in Vedanta along with other people, along with our families, especially if we have been studying together, along with our friends, along with our satsang. Satsang means the group of people who come together for the sole business of growing together in this knowledge, seeking together, growing together. And so this is what has to be done. A rewiring of the head and the heart is needing to be in place because that is where there is a deficit here. The deficit is not here, one knows. The deficit is here because whatever one knows here has to percolate the heart and the understanding and the beliefs and the conduct that ensues. So the Viparita Bhavana, this oppositional consciousness to what I really know about myself, that is repaired in some wonderful steps and very practical steps. Because there are many ways we can think about, there are many ways to approach this talk, but I think that this is what would be the most useful. How to heal the knower-doer split in a few steps. So step number 1 is to wake up correctly in the morning. What does it mean, wake up correctly in the morning? Wake up on a note of on a Brahman note, not on a Jiva note. Let Brahman wake up. Let the Jiva still be sleeping. How do I accomplish that? I remind myself. It's not even a reminding. It's a recalling. It's a recognition of myself as Bhagavan, as Brahman, as Jagat Karanam. So what do I do to do this? There is many things from the Upanishads. Aham Brahmasmi Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi, Ayamatma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, statements of oneness, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, Ishavasya Idam Sarvam. These are all wonderful notes to wake up to, along with the birds. It's beautiful. Rather than waking up to CNN or some other news channel, what is happening or something like that. This is a beautiful way to wake up. And I have already talked about in other talks the importance of the 3-verse mantra by Adi Shankara, Pratasmarana Stotram, very beautiful. Pratasmarami Hridi Samspuradatma Tattvam. In the morning I recall. What do you recall? Hridi Samspurat, in the heart that which is beating. Not that the heart is beating. That which is aware, that which makes itself aware in the heart as surely as a heartbeat. What is that which makes itself aware? Atma Tattva. What is Atma Tattva? I am, Ahamasmi, I am. The I am, Sat, cannot be separated from Chit, I know, I am now. Means it's all now. When I say I know I am, what is the time this knowledge is taking place of myself as a self-conscious being? Now. So this is recalled first thing in the morning. Not, oh my God, it's Monday, or what is tomorrow? Tuesday. The Tuesday is the new Monday. Oh my God, what do I have to do? That is not what is recalled. That is the samsara. This is jnana. This is the Mukta Purusha waking up. The Mukta Purusha, the person of knowledge, self-knowledge who wakes up on a beautiful note of understanding I am not just the conglomeration of this mass of flesh, bones, and body, mind, senses, etc. I am all of them, but I am beyond this body, mind, sense complex. I have to actually think that, because it doesn't come naturally at first. As soon as I wake up, what does the person think? The person, as soon as he or she wakes up, says, oh my God, what to do? I have to go here, I have to go there, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to get this, I have to go now. And I'm behind, I'm this, I'm that. All kinds of identifications are piling on, and one has not even got out of bed. So waking up properly is the first element of nididhyasanam that we have to internalize. That is the first step of welcoming moksha in day-to-day life. Because everybody, even the doctors will tell you, it's important to wake up properly. To wake up in a bad mood, then the whole day will go badly, naturally. So that is the first thing. Pratasparami hridi samspurad atma tattvam satchit sukham, satchidananda it is. And paramahamsa gatim turiyam. It is the gati. Gati means it is the object that is sought of, which is the subject matter of what? Paramahamsas, the sage of sages. All kinds of sage, the most exalted of sages pursue which? And what? Yat swapna jagara sushuptam avaiti nityam. That which is all-knowing. It knows the sleeper, it knows the waker, it knows the dreamer. But what is it? Free of being the sleeper, free of being the waker, free of being the dreamer. Dreamer is it is not the dreamer. Sleeper is it is not the sleeper. Waker is Atma. Atma is not the waker. This is what we have to understand. Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham. This is what is Brahman. This is what is called Ishvara. There is no Ishvara other than that. And what we pray for, what we pray in temples, etc., is just what is the word for it? Is just a representation until we get to this understanding. And so, this Tad Brahma Nishkalam. Nishkalam means I am a Teflon. This is the part 2 of what we have to do to get up in the morning. Think of yourself as a Teflon, non-stick pan. And you put oil, it runs all over the place. You put even the stickiest of khichdi. In India, in Indian food, I can't think of anything stickier than khichdi. Okay? Yeah. So then you put the stickiest of khichdi, it will just roast that khichdi, but then the pan will be clean. And think of yourself, today I am Teflon. Oh, but I feel vulnerable and I'm picking up things from here. Don't pick up. Shut up. Keep quiet. And then just tell yourself, I'm coating myself in Teflon. This is my kavacha. Tell yourself that. Tell yourself, I am now covered in Teflon. What is Teflon? Spiritual knowledge is Teflon here. And why is that Teflon? Because it's going to protect me from not taking everything in. Oh, poor thing, that one is feeling like this. Oh, poor thing, I should do this. Oh, poor, I feel guilty and now I feel hurt. Now next, let me feel something else. No. Because the first was what? I am Brahman. Does Brahman feel guilt? No. Does Brahman feel hurt? No. Okay. Then that means I have to coat myself in non-stick material. Not only non-stick material, but the material that wards off all sticky things everywhere. Number 2 is very nice. I really like the second point. Because even doing it visually, imagining it really helps. Because you're not really imagining it. It is the truth. You're as though faking it and making it, but really the Atma is free of everything. You are just so powerful, so strong, so creative, so beautiful. And the only thing worth knowing and worth pursuing and worth reveling in, all the other things of revelry are just pale baubles in front of this original I. The shine of the Atma makes these baubles shine. And the person of ignorance goes after the bling and goes after the baubles, mistaking it for oneself. That is the problem. And so, number 2, Teflon. Then already, see, I still haven't woken up, but I have done 2 important things. I have reminded myself first of who I am, who I really am. I have taken the pages of the Upanishad and studied them, ingested them, inhaled them first thing in the morning. And second thing, for good measure, I have coated myself with the content of these pages, so that I never, at least for today, I don't mistake myself to be something else, anything else. And then the third thing, this we already talked about, so I'm going to touch on it, is that today I make a sankalpa. Sankalpa means conscious, sacred intention. And then if you're living with family, you tell them you're making this sankalpa. I am not going to participate in any approval seeking action. Try a day like this. And if a day is too much, try half a day. If half a day is too much, try quarter day. Quarter day is what? So let's say a full day is 12 hours. So quarter day is what? 1/4 of that. So even if that's too much, try 1 hour a day. Go slow with yourself. Give yourself a hug. Be very, very gentle and soft. And then, so number 3 is very, very important. Okay. I will not participate in approval seeking, validation seeking action. This is harder than it looks, because everybody is not just a Teflon but a tough lawn. So some people feel, I'm not seeking approval, I'm just going this, I tell what I want to everybody, I just fire off what I want to say, I'm not seeking approval. But actually one is. One may be hopeless that one will get it, but one is. There are very nuanced ways of approval seeking that seep into the very fabric of one's being and become kind of second nature. And as a result, we are giving ourselves away. We are frittering ourselves away. We don't know where we begin. We don't know where the other person ends. We don't know where we begin. There are no healthy boundaries. There is no way of interaction. I don't even know whether I want your approval, but still I'm kind of seeking it somehow by default. This becomes the default behavior. And here we need total and brutal and total honesty, intellectual honesty, self-honesty. So before doing something, take a deep breath and say, what is the purpose of this action that is coming into the head? Let's say a thought comes, I want to give this to so-and-so. Then you ask yourself, yes, I want to do this. It's a nice want. It's an interesting want. And then, what will I get out of this? What is it that is motivating me? First, what is the motivation? Second, what do I hope to be the karma phala? What will I get out of this? What do I think will happen if I do this? Then watch your body, because the body got its own intelligence. It really is. So if the thought of this action makes you cringe and all very tight, do not do this. It's a very clear no-brainer. Watch the body. If you find yourself just becoming tight, if the jaws are clenching, if the shoulders are becoming earrings, and then drop the idea right then and there. Drop the idea, because obviously it is not doing this. But suppose that there is no reaction at all. Oh, then can I do it? No. Then also don't do it. Sit with it. Or supposing no reason comes, I just want to do it, then still sit with it. When you sit with it, wonderful things happen. That urge has to pass. Otherwise, we are constantly itching some itch or the other. That urge is not even raga dvesha at this point. It has become it started off as a raga dvesha, but it has become a chronic habit pattern. And what is the chronic habit pattern? I have to do this or else. It has become it's either for the sake of distraction or because some other pain is coming up that I'm not willing to look at, or it is because I cannot stay in my skin and I have to go do something. Run around the block, pump some iron, go to the gym, take a walk. All these are healthy outlets for this panic. All these are healthy outlets for these kinds of distractions. But whatever you want to do, especially if it involves another person, just take a very strong and honest stock of the situation and do not act until you have clarity. And let's say you're honest with yourself. Yes, okay, I really want some approval. Ask yourself, by this, are you going to get it? Yes, the person who I'm doing this for is very approving and very validating. Then ask yourself one more question. If this person does not validate me, how am I going to feel? And the answer will come. Betrayed. I'll feel a sense of betrayal. I'll feel hurt. I will feel upset. And there you have it. That means that this addiction to approval has not yet healed. No problem. That still doesn't make you an self-ignorant person. You have knowledge, but you have this addiction alongside the knowledge. The addiction is not the person. We have studied that in Alcoholics Anonymous. So the addiction is there, and it is healed. It is you make it a point to heal it. So this is number 3, and then you can write it out. Write out in the journal how difficult it is to not seek approval, not want validation. And then you can do this together in families. I won't seek your approval today, and you don't seek my approval either. Let's see what that relationship looks like on that day. It's going to be very, very surprising. You will be very, very surprised. I am sure of it. And so this is a big one. Okay, all of them are big. So make a sankalpa and go slowly. Don't say from now on I'll never seek approval. It's a statement which is a setup for disaster. Try 1 hour at a time. Try 2 hours at a time. Try it at home. Try it at work. Try it with people that you know. Try it with people who are just acquaintances you don't quite know, and then see how you feel, and slowly increase. And then the next thing, which number it was, I don't remember. That was, I think, 3 or 4, but whatever it is, you write the next point. The next tip, I would say, is to tend to that which is the core of you, upadhi wise. Here we are not talking of Satchidananda, okay, which is very interesting here. Satchidananda doesn't need any tending, okay, or attending. Satchidananda is fine. It doesn't need any tending or attending. And we are also not talking of the baby, the big baby full of all these this big baby of habits, etc. We are not talking of that. Then who are we talking about? We are talking about that which is in between, in between the two. Satchidananda doesn't need this tending, and the baby, even if you tend, it's not going to comply, it's not going to reason, it's going to keep crying. But then, as far as the upadhi means this container in which we all come, whether it's a man, woman, or a person with a certain predilection, a talent for doing certain things, such as somebody likes music and they are very good at it effortlessly. Somebody likes to dance, and somebody is naturally good at many things. Sometimes they juggle many balls effortlessly and keep them all in the air. This is what I mean by upadhi. Upadhistha. Upadhistha means belonging to, centered on the upadhi. What is there centered on the upadhi? Centered on the upadhi is this: there's something for me to contribute, something for me to tend, like a small fledgling, a small flame that I share with everybody and make the world a little bit of a brighter place in my own way, in my own time, when I'm ready. This is the core person. And that core person must be tended. How to tend this core person? The core person first there should be space to discover that. Because in this din of approval seeking, validation seeking, and then you scratch my back, I scratch your back kind of a thing, and then falling sick, because falling sick means falling emotionally sick because nobody approved of me, all these, and then picking myself up, that's exhausting. And when I keep putting out these kinds of small fires, the big conflagration, that wants to be one with everything, is ignored. It is tamped down, it is suppressed, it is pushed underground. Whole life goes without knowing what is my swadharma. What is it that I'm supposed to express? What is it that should express out of me? Some aspects, see, Swadharma has two aspects. One part is very, very clear. If I am a son or a daughter, there are certain things I have to do. No brainer. If I am a mother or a father, there are certain things I have to do. If I am a teacher, I have to do certain things. If I am a student, I have to do certain things. These are my responsibilities. This is part A of Swadharma. Part B is rarely discussed and not talked about at all, and that is to do with, why is it that I have been born in this body? How come I have this parentage? What is it that is needing to come out of me, but has gotten hidden between all the demands of wanting self-approval? And what a foolish thing I'm doing, trying to get self-approval for a self that is already approvable, that's already approved. Because there's nothing like it, there's nothing better than this, there's nothing other than this, it's already approved. And so, tending to the core person first means dropping my own agenda for life. And what is my own agenda? Approval seeking. That's what it is. So that when I drop, then there are certain vistas that open up, that come out of hiding from the fear of shining too much. Oh my God, that will make somebody else mad. If I shine too much, this one's going to be sad, that one's going to be upset, this one's going to be mad. This is what I'm saying. I should hide my light under a bushel. This is what you have been doing, life after life after life. When are you going to let it shine? There's a very nice song. This little light of mine, I am going to let it shine. Sing that. Write that down. And write that down. Repeat that in your mind, even as you're waking up. I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to put myself down and just keep in the shadows, hoping that all the people whose approval I'm seeking and who I'm afraid of making mad, why? Because I want their validation, let them all go away or let them all die. Then I will wake up. It doesn't work that way. Does not work that way. Even if they all pass on, the habit is so ingrained that there will be a whole slew of people to which you are replaying that same tape. So tending to the inner being means first dropping this agenda, the resistance, the fear, and then giving this being over to Ishvara. So you are not in Jiva mode anymore. You are in Ishvara mode. And in Ishvara mode, there is one life, one flow, one reality, and then in that, let this being express itself. So every person, every jnani's prayer is that. Every jignasu's prayer should be that only. Jignasu's prayer, jignasu means the seeker of the self, is a jignasu. The jignasu says, what? That let there be less and less of me and more of you. O Satchidananda, O Bhagavan, let there be more of you and less of me. More of you means what? More accommodation, more clarity, more patience, and more courage. And less of me means what? Less complaints, less fear, less anxiety, less all the ways in which I stop myself. So when this inner being is kindled, then what happens is that the approval seeking goes completely to the side. Why? Because I have a new toy. Huh? I have a new purpose in life. I have redirected seeking approval by tending to other people, which is exhausting. By tending to myself, the God in me, the God as me. I'm tending to that. And that gives so much joy. And that keeps one poised for, owning up this knowledge. And this is a very important, what should I say, precursor? Yeah, pre-nididhyasana step. This is very, very important. If we don't do these steps and then we jump straight into, okay, let me just see the meaning of the words of the Upanishad, I am Brahman, I am Bhagavan, nothing will happen. Because that preparation, we need the scaffolding of these 4 steps, 4, 5 steps, I don't know how many we discussed, in order to go to the other side of the complaints, of the approval seeking, and of the exhaustion, and of the difficulty of just picking up the pieces of the self each day as it falls apart. And so this gives a new sense of enthusiasm, and it is a sure road of recovery for the person who is serious about bringing moksha into their day-to-day life. And then what else? One last tip is this, that I make a sankalpa, not only to not seek approval, the last sankalpa is to, I will not judge myself and judge others. So when the judgment comes, you just write it out. It's okay to write it out because the thoughts are there. You can write it out, tear it up and flush it down, or put it in the garbage, put it in recycling. But it's not okay to write it up and send it as a text, ding ding, to the other person or to a third person, which is even worse. Okay, so that is the last step. And so equipped with these tips, I am sure that moksha in day-to-day life is not far away at all. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much for patiently listening and putting up with the coughs and the and all the things that you were so kind to sit with. And now we'll open it up for questions. And for expediency, one thing you can do if you would like is to just turn on your volume, your audio, and you can ask it. Or if you are more comfortable, you can type inside the chat box. So there are two ways possible. Yeah. Yes, Sharada, please go ahead.
Swamini, my question is about at night. In the morning, I'm fine. I can meditate for a few seconds. I can do japa. I can chant, etc. But at night, I find myself attracted to watching Netflix, documentary, thriller, comedy, something. And I feel like I deserve a treat. And I don't seem satisfied with reading something scriptural or sattvic. By doing this, am I delaying my spiritual maturity, or will it eventually just drop off?
Yeah, it doesn't need to drop off. You can, on Netflix also, we have the stories, the life stories of so many Mahatmas. We choose that to watch sometimes. And sometimes don't, see, sometimes if one is too hard on oneself, then it becomes very difficult. Then the mind goes another way and wants more of that. And so you have to be very easy with yourself. And when you're easy with yourself, what happens is that the mind comes along. So yes, you may have some favorite movies or shows that you like. You watch that. And one day a week, you watch the life story of a Mahatma. There's so many stories are there, and so many people's stories are there. Watch even a little bit. Watch half of it. If full, it doesn't want. So that way, the mind comes along with you. And if it's not excessive, if it's something you need to just relax for the time being, it's okay. We don't worry about it too much.
Thank you.
Welcome. You said don't judge yourself. How is it different to introspect if I have done the best I could? Yeah, that's how you have answered your own question. So this is how it would be. You would say, I have done the best I can. So don't judge myself means not in what you have done or not done, but more in the sense of who you are and not are. That is the judgment I'm first talking about, first and foremost. You know why? Because that is where the judgment comes. I am an idiot. I should have known better. Why do I always do this? Why do people always treat me badly and treat the other person well? What's wrong with me? This is all what we need to drop. Okay, that is what I meant. Next one. Other questions? Okay, there don't seem to be other questions.
So many, G, but
Yes.
it's not fully formed. Thank you for the wonderful talk. I think in therapy circles, we talk a lot about validation and the importance of validation as well. And you know this, and as well as now that the trend is also to say, like, for healing, it's not just about going to individual therapy, but you have to have community and take pride in one's culture. And I'm wondering, it seems like that there is some importance in that, but maybe for Vedantins or people interested in Vedanta, it's different.
Yeah, of course, that's what we are talking of, people who would like to internalize the message of the Shruti. We are not talking of the people at large in the world. And for people, lay people at large in the world, validation is what makes their day. And they have to get into first from dysfunctional relationships seeking validation, then you go to what is that? Functional relationships. First, you have to go through that step from dysfunctional and toxic relationships. Then I go to functional relationships. And then after that, then I seek validation properly from places I can actually get it. And I also become a non-codependent validation giver. All that, I am assuming that one has already done in the life here. And then here, what are we doing? We are looking to move away from that, which is a very invisible but strong shackle to internalizing self-knowledge, assimilating self-knowledge. So you're absolutely correct. I'm not saying that validation is not important, but the topic is what? How to invite moksha in our daily lives. How to invite self-knowledge to abide and stay in the heart. Yes, Shruti.
Pranam Swaminiji.
Hari.
It was a
Hari.
very helpful talk. I have a question on the fourth step you described, which is tending to the upadhi. So would that mean that surrendering this upadhi to Bhagwan and saying Bhagwan use this as an instrument?
Yes, that is a very good start. But then we can't stop there. That's a starting point. Very good and important starting point. Why is that an Excuse me. Why is that an important starting point? It's an important starting point because I was so holding on so much and having agenda with regard to my own life that I was not really thinking about this. So now to give it to Bhagavan to hold this and then tell me what would you like me to do with this is a very good introspection, very good nididhyasana in a way, and very good meditation. But we can't stop there. You start with that and then you move on to other things, such as what are the things that come easily to me? What are the things that I like to do? What are the things that can benefit the world? That's what it is. Then I indulge in that. Is that clear?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hari Om.
Yeah. So, Hari Om. Please suggest a few names of Mahatmas to know about. Many are there. Many are there in the sense that, let's see who. We have so many Mahatmas. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, very famous. And then we have Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is there. And then Swami Vivekananda. Like this, so many. Pujya Swami Dayananda ji. All these Mahatmas are there. Yes, and other people are also writing, Chinmayananda, etc. So that is there. And so lots of possibilities. Shruti, you had another question?
Oh, no, Swaminiji.
Yeah. So yes, Lalita Bhaskar, please tell.
Pranam Swaminiji.
Hari Om.
I just wanted to confirm the 4-5 steps that we went through. So
Yes.
they are pre-nididhyasanam. They are not part of the main nididhyasanam.
I would say both. When
Okay.
you take them as nididhyasana, then they become much more honed in and much more natural. Before nididhyasana, they are deliberate preparations to be like they are sadhana, and also they see nididhyasana means chewing the cud of the Upanishads. So this is a sadhana to enable one to do that, and also it is a way of doing that. Both.
Okay. How do we monitor our progress?
How do you monitor what?
The progress. How are we doing in this effort?
Oh, when you become less reactive, when you become more accommodative, when you become less restless, and when you can live in your skin very happily without really wanting to get outside of it and seek something else and self-flagellate, beat yourself for this, that, or the other. when that restlessness comes down, when there is more of a spontaneity, and what you do doesn't matter because it's just coming out of a sense of spontaneity. This is how the Mahatmas act. All the great sages, we see, they don't say, okay, I'm going to do this because of this fear or because of this desire. Fear and desire don't enter in it at all. And they just do it spontaneously, and some people are helped, or many people are helped as a result. So this is exactly what the thing is. Okay.
Thank you.
We grow into that. Any other thoughts?
Swamini, I would think there's some courage involved at the fourth step, third step, or fourth step, where you need to be able to be with yourself.
Yeah.
And with your own mind and with your own thoughts.
Yes.
And rather than seeking outwards, right?
Right.
So yeah, I was relating these things to the Atma consciousness, the Asangatvam.
Yeah.
And then basically.
And that cannot happen until that courage comes. You're right.
Yes.
And that courage, that's why we have the interim step of Bhagavan. You derive courage through surrender to Bhagavan. Then that same Bhagavan is understood as myself alone.
Yeah. Wonderful.
But first, that step is important because that's why all the iconography in the Hindu religion, they have Bhagavan like this. Don't fear, I am here. This is what is called Abhaya. Abhaya Mudra, giving courage. This is the courage giving Mudra. And so I look at that. Let's say I go to the temple. In the beginning, I'm trying to make these steps. They are not happening. I'm just dancing in place. Nothing is happening. I go to the temple. I see a smiling icon of Krishna, of Vishnu, Lakshmi, anything, Shiva, Parvati, and they are holding their hands like this and smiling at me. I immediately say, okay, take this fear, take this restlessness, take these distractions, and just be with me. And I don't want anything else other than to have this knowledge. Show me who you are and show me that you are non-separate from me. I tell that, and that itself is transforming, because the person who I tell it to is not part of the samsara, who is also seeking something. That person is outside of samsara. And that Bhagavan is the Atma, which I am wanting to bring in as myself. And so therefore, this becomes an interim step of giving up the agenda. That's what I meant, giving up the agenda of fear and everything, asking for courage, asking for whatever the difficulty is as I move on, for it to recede.
But going on to one step further in terms of a jnani, he would have given up the surrender stage, right? And he would have then basically be free in his own.
The person understands who is surrender and to what exactly. There is no surrender. There is no object of surrender which is separate from me. Who is the one who is surrendering, and to what, and for what? 7th chapter of the Panchadashi, Tripti Deepa, makes this very, very clear. It's a very advanced and beautiful text. We should study it sometime. And we should do that. It's just beautiful. It takes a statement from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which I absolutely, absolutely love. And it says, Atmanam ched vijaniyat. If one knows the Atma, Atmanam ched vijaniyat, ahamasmi iti purushaha. When one knows, I am this Paramapurusha, I am this Ishvara, when one knows, tat kasya kamaya kim anusanjvaret. Kimartham kasya kamaya shariram anusanjvaret. Kimartham kasya kamaya shariram anusanjvaret. So, meaning, for what purpose? If I already know who I am, for what purpose and for what reason, and why will I go into this overdrive of feverish activity? connected to the body-mind sense complex. And that whole 295 verses unfold this one statement. It is fantastic. Wow. Absolutely fantastic.
Very good.
Other questions? Where will the recording be posted? Okay, that's a good question. Let's see. Let's see if I can write it. www.youtube.com That's our YouTube channel. It has many talks on it, including the 6-month course. The Bhagavad Gita verse by verse is there, and it is just, what should I say, a garden. Feel free to graze. Feel free to pick the flowers. Feel free to come and enjoy. Feel free to just be. Absolutely correct. Is it better to not act at all if it seems like our actions is approval seeking? Yes. Rechannel to another action, but is not approval seeking. That you do because you have joy. If you do something when you have joy, then there is no pressure there. There is no pressure to be accepted, for that action to be accepted. There is no pressure to push forward. Nothing is there. Yeah. Correct. Any other questions? It has been a great joy to be with you all, and may everybody be happy, may everybody be healthy, may everybody stay safe, and may everybody be filled with joy, loving kindness, and self-approval. Om Shanti.
Rami, we look forward to your continuing visits to the Bay Area. Thank you very much for the talk.
Thank you very much. I love you all, and I love coming here. So may that happen. Om Shanti.